I was 24 when he got the diagnosis. He was 25. The doctors said it's one of the rarest cancers in the world. I didn't know what that meant. I just knew I'd have to be the one to hold him. He didn't die in the hospital. He died in our living room. The room still smells like medicine and a faint scent of his cologne. It's been 4 years since he left me alone. He was one of the few to live 5 years. I'm now older than him. I'm 29. He was 28. I didn't know that would feel like the end of something. The end of me. I still find his cologne sometimes. It lingers in the air like a ghost, like he is still here, breathing, just out of reach. He left me life insurance money. It's not about the money. It's about the weight of his last wish, that I live, that I carry on, that I remember. Today I am older than him. Today I am alive. Today I am the one who outlived him. So what exactly are we talking about? It's not just about numbers. It's about a brother who was taken from me before I even had a chance to truly know what it meant to be older than him. He was 28 years and 11 months old when he died. That's the age I've now surpassed, and it feels like a strange kind of victory. A victory I never asked for and never wanted. The cancer was so aggressive, so rare, that even doctors didn't know what to expect. He was one of the few to live 5 years, and I was there, every step of the way. I held him, I listened to him, I watched him fade away. It wasn't just a loss, it was a complete unraveling of the future we had once shared. And now, I carry that weight alone. He left me money, but it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like a reminder that he was taken too soon, and that I'm still here, carrying the silence of his absence. You think you know what it means to lose someone, but you don't. You don't until you're the one left behind, holding their last breath, watching their light go out, and realizing you've just crossed a line you never knew existed. You think you can breathe on your own, but you can't. You carry their weight, their stories, their unfinished sentences, and sometimes it's like you're still walking beside them, just a step behind. You think you can be strong, but you're not. You're tired. You're broken, and sometimes you just want to cry because you can't explain why you're still here, and they're not. You think you can forget, but you can't. You carry them in every choice, every breath, every moment, and maybe that's the only way you can remember them, by still being here. I was 12 when he got sick. He was 23. One day he just stopped being the brother I knew. The next day, he was the patient in a hospital bed, staring at the ceiling like he was waiting for something to happen. I used to call him bro and he'd call me lil bro. Now, I'm the one holding the phone, talking to strangers, trying to make sense of a disease that doesn't care about names or family. He taught me how to die, not in a textbook, but in a hospital, in a room where time stops and everything feels like it's slipping through your fingers. He didn't die in pain. He didn't die in fear. He just didn't die. And I was the one who had to live with that silence after he left. I still remember the day he left. Not the day he died, but the day I realized I was the one left behind, that I'd outlived him, and that the world was somehow quieter without him. He left me money, not because he wanted me to have it, but because he knew I'd need it, because he knew I'd have to live with the weight of his absence for the rest of my life. I'm older than him, and he's not here. I'm 29, and he was 28. That's how old I am now, because he's not. He fought for 5 years, but it wasn't enough. His body gave up, and his mind stayed with me. I still hear him in the silence. He left me money, but it's not about the money. It's about being here and knowing I'm the one who got to say goodbye. I use it to live, but I also use it to remember. Every dollar is a memory. Every payment is a promise I made to him. He was 28 and 11 months. I'm 29. That's how old I am now, because he's not. I still remember the day I turned 28. I was in the hospital, sitting next to his bed, watching his chest rise and fall. He was so small, so fragile, but still so strong. We had a plan. He wanted to be at home, surrounded by the people who loved him. We moved everything. His room became a sanctuary of memories, of laughter, of love. I was his caregiver, his confidant, his brother. We shared stories, dreams, fears. I promised him I'd be there, and I was. Every moment, every breath. He left me something more than money. He left me a life, a purpose, a reason to keep going. And now, I carry that with me every single day. The insurance money came in a box, sealed and heavy, like a finality I wasn't ready for. I opened it slowly, as if the contents might still be alive. I didn't know how to use it. It felt like a relic from a life that had already ended, a piece of a puzzle I didn't have the courage to assemble. I started using it for small things: rent, groceries, a new phone. Each purchase felt like a quiet rebellion against the fear that I was already too far gone. Now, I use it to help others. It's not about what I lost, but what I can carry forward: his legacy, his love, and a little piece of him that still lives in me. I didn't just outlive him, I outlived the version of myself that believed in the future. Every birthday after his death became a reminder of the life I didn't get to live with him. The life insurance money isn't just a payout, it's a contract with the past, a way to say, I made it. I use it to build a future he'll never see, but I do it in his name. That's how it works. Outliving him isn't a victory, it's a mourning, and I carry it with me every day. The science is silent, but it's everywhere. You can't hear it, but it's in the cells, in the blood, in the bones. It's a war you can't see, but it's real. They told us it was aggressive, fast-moving, like a storm with no warning. You can't outrun it, not even with the best medicine. The science says one thing, but the body tells another. It doesn't care about stats or timelines. It just wants to live, even if it's fighting for every breath. I still remember the way he looked when he was in the hospital. So small, so fragile, but so strong. The science didn't know his strength, but I did. Now I carry his story, not just in memory, but in the numbers, in the science, in the silence that follows every I'm sorry. You know how sometimes you watch a movie and the ending hits you like a punch to the gut? That's what it's like to outlive someone you loved. You feel like you're still in the middle of the story, but the credits have already rolled. I used to think time was a straight line, like a road, but now I know it's more like a loop. You keep going, but you're always circling back to the same place. You ever try to explain something so big it feels like it's not even real? Like trying to describe the sound of a door closing when you're already gone. I used to think I had all the time in the world. Now I know the only thing that matters is how much time you have left and how much you let yourself feel it. The worst part is I still feel like I'm waiting for him to walk through the door, but I know he's not coming. And that's the hardest part of all. I used to think the worst thing about being older than him was the age difference, but I was wrong. The worst thing is that I remember every single thing about him, and he doesn't. I still have his favorite shirt. It smells like him. Like medicine, like fear, like hope. I wear it sometimes, just to feel close to him, even if it's just for a moment. I've had to learn how to be a brother to myself, to carry his memory without letting it crush me, to love him without needing him to be here. He was my hero. Now I'm the one who has to keep his story alive, even when the world has moved on and forgotten how to listen. They said it was a miracle he lived 5 years, but miracles don't mean you get to live. They just mean you're allowed to keep trying. People would say, at least he lived 5 years, but 5 years is just another way of saying, you're not going to make it. They told me I was lucky to be here, but I wasn't lucky. I was just left behind, and that's not a blessing. It's a curse. The insurance money is just a reminder of what he couldn't do. It's not a reward. It's a debt I have to pay with the rest of my life. I don't know what it means to live when the person you love is gone. I just know I'm still here, and that's the only thing that matters now. There's this myth that you can outlive cancer, that it's just a matter of time and willpower. But the truth is, cancer doesn't care about your strength. It takes what it wants, and it takes everything. I used to think I could fight it, that I could hold on longer, but the disease didn't just take my brother's life, it took his future, his dreams, his laughter, and it took mine too, in pieces. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something to enjoy, take a look at the Amazon Echo Dot 5 smart speaker. There's a link and a QR code on screen right now, and in the description below. Alright, back to it. I've heard stories of people surviving for years, but my brother was one of the few. He didn't survive. He lived, and in that living, he gave me something more than just memories. He gave me a life. So if you're thinking about cancer, know this, it doesn't follow a script. It doesn't give you a chance. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It just comes and it takes what it wants. Sometimes everything. I used to think grief was something that came in waves, but now I know it's a steady, invisible current. It's in the way I look at a sunrise, or the way I hear laughter from someone I haven't seen in years. You don't notice it at first. The way your heart skips when someone says I miss him, or the way you freeze when the phone rings at 3 a.m. It's not just about him anymore. It's about the space he left. I used to think I'd be able to move on, to pretend the pain wasn't there. But grief doesn't fade. It just gets quieter, like a song you used to know by heart but now only hear in fragments. Sometimes, I wonder if I'm still grieving for him or if I'm grieving for the version of myself that died when he did. The person who believed in a future, who believed in a tomorrow. I tried to be the calm in the storm, but I was just as scared as everyone else. I didn't know how to hold the pieces of his life together. We talked about his wishes, but I didn't know if I could follow them. I kept asking, what if I fail you? And he said, you won't. I remember the last time I saw him. He was weak, but his eyes were clear. He looked at me and said, I'm proud of you. He left me a life insurance policy, but it felt like a tiny piece of a much bigger loss. I didn't know what to do with it, but I had to. I used the money to build something for him. Not a monument, but a reminder that he lived, and that I still have a life to live. He was the kind of guy who lived for the edge, for the next hit, the next ride, the next push. Every breath was a challenge, every moment a dare. He lived in a world where the limits didn't exist, where the rules were written by his own will. He broke them again and again, until the world couldn't keep up. In the end, he didn't fight. He just kept going, even when the world stopped turning, even when he knew there was nothing left to prove. He was a record breaker, a cranked 11 extreme. He lived life like it was a race, and he never stopped running until he had to. I was told he had months, maybe a year, but time didn't work like that. It just folded in on itself, and I was left standing in the middle of it, trying to make sense of the pieces. One day, he asked me if I'd ever be okay. I didn't know how to answer. I just held his hand and whispered that I'd be here, that I'd be with him. And I was. Every second, every breath. The last time I touched him, his skin was cold. I held him for the last time, and I cried. I cried because I couldn't save him. I cried because I had to let him go. I cried because I was still here. I kept going. I kept living. But sometimes, I wake up and feel like I'm still in that room. Like the silence is louder than the world. Like I'm waiting for him to come back, even though I know he's not. I've been told I outlived him, but I don't feel like I did. I feel like I'm still waiting for him to come home. Like I'm still holding on to the last breath he ever took. You don't realize how heavy it is to carry the weight of someone else's life until you're the one left behind. You're supposed to be the one who holds on, but sometimes, the world just lets go, and you're left holding the silence. You start counting the days not in terms of how many you've lived, but how many you've survived without them. There's a kind of grief that doesn't fade, only changes shape. It doesn't go away, it just learns how to live with you. You carry their life with you, not as a burden, but as a memory that refuses to let go. We didn't know the name of the cancer, but we knew it was fighting back. Every treatment was a battle, and every month felt like a year. We were just trying to keep him alive, not knowing how long we'd have to keep fighting. Then one day, a doctor came in and said, "We found the name of the cancer. It's rare, aggressive, and you're one of the few who have lived this long." It wasn't a victory, it was a cruel twist of fate. I remember asking, "Is there a chance I'll live longer than him?" And he said, "Not unless you're lucky." That's when I realized I wasn't just living on, I was living beyond. The name of the cancer didn't change the fact that he was gone, but it gave me something, a sense of purpose, a way to honor his fight and his life. It turned loss into legacy. Now, when I look at the name of the cancer, I don't see a death sentence. I see a story of what it means to live, to love, and to outlive the person you were meant to be with. There's this weird, almost surreal truth that I'm older than my brother now. He was 28 when he died, and today I'm 29. It's like the universe made a mistake. Or maybe it was a cruel joke. I remember the first time I felt like I was living in his shadow. Not literally, but in every way. I was always chasing his steps, trying to be just like him. I've had to learn how to be a grown-up, and I've had to do it without him. It's like I'm living in a world that's moved on, but I'm still stuck in his. There's something about being older than someone you love that feels like a quiet betrayal. Like you've outlived them, and you're not sure if you've outgrown them. I've come to terms with it, but sometimes I still feel like I'm waiting for him to walk through the door, like he's just out of reach, and I'm not sure if I'll ever catch up. What if we could take that pain, that suffering, and twist it into something else? What if we could make it mean something? What if we could make it matter? You take the worst of it and turn it into a purpose. You say, "I will live for this. I will carry this. I will make it part of me." You don't just survive. You rewrite the story. You don't just grieve. You build something from it. And in the end, you don't just live for the person you lost. You live for the person you became. I used to think age was just numbers on a calendar, but now I see it as a measure of time we're given to love, to live, to grieve. Every birthday feels like a quiet rebellion against the clock. When he was 28, he was already fighting a war I didn't know how to fight. I watched him fade, and I couldn't save him. I had to live with that truth, and it's shaped how I see every year that passes. Life insurance money doesn't fix what was lost, but it helps me carry the weight of the past. It's a way to say I'm still here, and I'm trying to live with what you left behind. I used to think I was the one who got to grow up. Now I realize I was just given more time to feel the absence of someone who was always there, but who left too soon. It's not fair. It's not just about being older. It's about carrying the memory of someone who was never meant to leave, and not being able to stop the clock. They still don't know what caused it. They bicker over the science, but no one can explain why it happened. I wish they could just say, "This is what you're up against." Doctors argue about the stats, the numbers, the odds, but the real numbers are in the people who are left behind, the ones who carry the weight of a life cut short. They want to classify it, to put it in a box, but it's not a disease, it's a tragedy, and they're still arguing over the label. I don't know what they're fighting over. I just know that no one ever said, this is going to end in 5 years. They said hope, they said treatment, they said more time, but none of it was enough. They bicker over the science, but the real battle was in the silence. Silence after the last breath. The silence of a life that was never meant to end this way. The trick isn't in the money, it's in the meaning. The life insurance wasn't just for me, it was a way to say, I am here, I'm real, and I'm still trying to live. It's a strange kind of inheritance, not of things, but of time. I'm not just carrying his memory, I'm carrying the way of his last days, his last breaths, his last words. He gave me something that no amount of money could buy, a chance to keep living, to keep learning, to keep being present. And that's the real magic. The trick isn't about surviving, it's about carrying him with me every day, in every choice I make, in every breath I take. They think it's about the disease, but it's about the person. It's about the love, the laughs, the moments that don't make it into the medical records. They think you can just move on, but you don't. You carry it. You carry it like a weight, like a song you can't stop hearing. They think you're supposed to be strong, but sometimes you're not. Sometimes you just want to break down and cry, and that's okay. They think it's about the end, but it's about the beginning. The way life changes, and you're left standing in the middle of it, holding on to what you can. I remember the day he asked me to promise him something. It wasn't about the future, it was about the past. He wanted to know if I would carry on his name, his work, his legacy. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, take a look at the Kindle Paperwhite e-reader. There's a link and a QR code on screen right now, and in the description below. Alright, back to it. I said yes without thinking, but I didn't realize then how much that promise would weigh on me. Every name I used, every project I started, felt like a debt I couldn't repay. One day, I found a small, folded piece of paper in his desk. It was a list of people he wanted to thank, and I was at the very end. He had thought of me. Even in the darkest hours, that list became my compass. I used it to navigate through grief, through guilt, through the silence that followed his death. It reminded me that even in the smallest details, he was still with me. Before you go, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell us in the comments what you'd like us to make next. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.